This unauthorized construction is a clear violation of the agreement, sir. You need to tear these down today.
As the state attorney, I assure you they comply with all regulations.
Cold air hit my face as I stepped onto my dock and almost smashed into a fresh wall of lumber and metal brackets. 6 raw wood frames crouched over the water, smelling like wet sawdust and sharp paint. An orange work light from the HOA truck flickered on the shore, throwing jumpy shadows across the dark lake. A guy in a neon vest yelled over the screaming drill that the boat racks had to be finished tonight. My boat was still tied there, trapped under their mess, bumping helplessly against the pilings. Water slapped the posts. Nails flew. On my own dock, strangers worked like I did not exist. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while my coffee went cold. The subject line might as well have been a dare. HOA built 6 boat racks on my dock. Too bad I am the state attorney. Inside, they called it Community Amenity Expansion. Translation: my private dock was now the neighborhood boat parking lot. A blurry survey was attached, and they said I had 48 hours to sign an easement. If I did not agree, they would fine me $100 a day and consider further action. My wife read it once, blew out a breath, and said, "Yeah, that's Karen all right." I tried to be reasonable. The next morning, May 3rd, 2024, I walked into the clubhouse, breathing bleach and burned coffee from their ancient machine. HOA President Karen sat behind the front desk like a queen on a folding throne, nails clicking on her tablet. I told her the dock was deeded to my lot, and the racks blocked my only deep water access. She gave me this tight little smile and said the board had voted. A shared community benefit. When I asked to see the vote and the permits, her voice dropped ice cold. "The board does not answer to individual demands," she said. 2 neighbors nearby shut their mouths mid-sentence and stared hard at the carpet like kids in the principal's office. That was my line in the sand. Or in this case, in the water. I told her, calm and clear, that I would handle it through proper channels only. She smirked and said, "Good luck with that." So I went home, sat at my kitchen table, and opened my laptop. First move, records. I pulled the plat map, my deed, and the covenants. Then I filed public records requests for every email between Karen, the board, and the city about docks or racks for the last 12 months. I started a note in big letters. Timeline item 1, April 5th at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. That was the night Karen claimed I was lurking on my own dock while I took a phone call. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I didn't need shouting. I needed a pattern and a paper trail. The replies rolled in. The city clerk sent me a link, and the file landed with 63 pages. No permit applications anywhere. But there were email chains where Karen pushed staff to fast-track the racks and suggested telling the contractor I had already agreed. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I added the HOA violations notice for improper boat storage they'd sent me when my kayak sat on my own grass for one afternoon. By the end of the week, I had 8 complaint letters ready to go. Not threats. Just facts, statutes, and dates in clear words. 1 to the State Environmental Agency. 1 to City Code Enforcement. 1 to our HOA's insurance carrier, politely asking if they were aware their insured was building unpermitted structures in public trust waters. The payoff and the flip came at the next open HOA meeting. The room hummed with whispers. Folding chairs were packed, a few neighbors already holding up their phones. Karen tried to rush the agenda, voice a little too bright. When she moved to adjourn without owner comments, I stood. "For the record," I said, "I'm speaking both as a homeowner and as the state attorney assigned to shoreline compliance." The room went so quiet I could hear ice clink in a plastic cup. I walked to the table and set down a stack of papers. On top was a letter from the state. The racks were unpermitted structures in public trust waters and had to be removed. Under that, a notice from the city, daily fines of $500 on the HOA, starting that day, if the racks stayed. The city inspector stepped forward like it was a courtroom, 2 code officers behind him, while someone in the back whispered, "Oh, this is going on TikTok." And screens lit up that he read into the mic that the racks violated setback rules and blocked emergency access. He held up my timeline page and pointed to the false trespass call. He said there were now 7 written complaints from me and other owners and explained, slowly, that lying to city staff was a serious issue. Their own lawyer leaned in and quietly told the board they needed a vote. With shaking hands, they agreed to remove the racks within 10 days and suspend all fines and threats against my property. You could feel the mood snap. Neighbors started to smile. A few people actually laughed when Karen realized the fines would hit the HOA budget she always bragged about. The aftermath came fast. By the next weekend, a work crew was back on my shoreline, but this time under the eye of the city inspector and 3 neighbors recording from lawn chairs. The racks came down piece by piece. My dock stood clear again, warm sun on the boards, water slapping easy against the pilings. The HOA had to pay several $1,000s in fines and administrative costs, and a very dry email from the insurance company went out to the board about future disclosures. Karen resigned as president at 6:12 a.m., blaming health reasons. A quieter neighbor, Mrs. Patel, was voted in and came by that night with a plate of warm cookies and a whispered thank you for standing up when the rest of us were scared. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.